I know what you want. You want the best new city building games to play in 2023, and I do a lot of upcoming games lists. And people always say, I feel so frustrated because none of these are playable because they're upcoming. What can I play right now that's good? So here's a little new list for you city building fans wanting to play something right now. And here's the rules for this one. The games must be actually playable, have at minimum 75% positive rating on Steam or higher, and that it became playable or got a full release within the last 2 years. That's what makes them new. I mean, we don't need games that have been in early access for the last 7 years or something. So let's jump into the first one, which is Settlement Survival. This is a Banished-inspired city building game that has a lot of nice little features to it. You manipulate the landscape, manage limited supplies, plant crops, hunt wildlife, gather resources, and develop trade routes, going from a tiny village, building up to a bustling town. And it's got all of the development progressive tech trees, survival aspects, disasters, discovering rare blueprints for giant monuments kind of thing. And there's even a little touch about reliving historical moments like the bubonic plague. Overall, this game is doing relatively well. It fully released in October of 2022 and currently has around the high 80s in terms of Steam rating. So if you like the look of this one's a safe bet. You can jump right in. And then for a recent hit, Farthest Frontier. This is another Banished-inspired city builder. I mean, there's a lot of Banished-inspired survival city builders out there, okay? I'm showing you the best ones there are, which are new. In Farthest Frontier, first of all, this game looks phenomenal. It has so much detail. You protect and guide your people as you forge a town from untamed wilderness, harvest raw materials, hunt, fish, farm, and gather resources in general to survive, producing craft items from those materials to trade, consume, equip, and fight as you battle for your survival against the elements and outside threats. This game does have some military in it. There's also some nice features here. For example, for farming, there's crop rotation. That's a pretty cool feature that we don't see enough of these days, in my opinion. There's a lot of detail in terms of the visuals and the animation and the simulation in terms of how resources are moved around, the needs and stats of your individual villagers. And just generally, people are loving this one. It went into early access in August 2022 and has mid 80% positive on Steam right now. And it might be a little bit lower on the total rating because when this game first released, it was rather unoptimized, missing some options, and there were a number of problems with especially the onboarding of the game. But many of those problems have now been fixed, and this game seems to be sailing relatively smoothly moving forward through development. Then we have a post-apocalyptic survival city builder called Endzone: A World Apart. This is a city builder where you have to rebuild after the end of civilization, and this has been going very well, with 77% positive rating on Steam, and it released early 2021, so it's just about within the last 2 years. I do really like this one because there's a lot of detail to it. It looks great, the voice acting in the game is also really nice, and there's so much to do, really. You know, surviving against the constant radiation, the toxic rains, sandstorms, droughts, the many things that you have to build, collect resources, process those resources into other things, and explore the world that you find yourself in. You can also send out expeditions to forgotten places and make decisions as you go through that. And one of the great things about this game is that there's a lot of gameplay and replayability because there's a lot of scenarios and certain situations that you can play and try and solve. So this one has been going for a while, and it's pretty much proven itself, and because it's just about hitting 2 years old, there's very clear opinions about it. So you can check out Endzone and see if it's one for you. Then, for a smaller production that might be a surprising success to many, considering its very humble beginnings, Urbek City Builder. This is an urban city building game where you build your own neighborhoods, from nightlife districts to industrial districts, but this is sort of more of a puzzle city builder than an actual city builder, but it's become very popular, having a 90% plus rating on Steam. Now in this game, you sort of place buildings individually with adjacency bonuses, which all stack on top of each other to make unique and complex cities and towns. There are resources to collect and things to decorate, but yeah, this is more of the puzzle side of city building, which I know a lot of people are more into. And having played the demo quite a while ago, it was sort of a bare bones vertical slice back then. But since then, having fully released in the middle of 2022, it's become something quite interesting. Now, I know a lot of people would not be into this, but a lot of people are, so check it out, see if it's for you. Going on more of a train approach, we've got Sweet Transit, which is sort of a city builder with a Factorio train system in it to move resources around. Calling itself a unique city builder where railway is king and trains are the sole means of transportation, you'll be building quaint villages and expanding to bustling cities, farms to industrious factories, and going from steam-powered rail to combustious diesel, and beyond, in an interconnected, train-driven world. Personally, I love the look of this one. It's got that sort of gritty, isometric style to it, which I'm just a personal fan of. But if you are more into the logistics and resource management side of city building, then this is going to be for you, because who doesn't like trains? And there's a lot of train games out there, and this one is doing well. Now, it's not the most highly rated game on this list, but it's still got 78% on Steam right now, and generally, it seems pretty interesting, especially if you're into the whole trains thing, if that wasn't clear already. For something a little bit different, it's LakeSide, which is a side-scrolling pixel art city building puzzle kind of game, where you build and manage a quiet town by the lake, and you can expand it into a picturesque city-state as it uses hybrid mechanics. So this isn't, of course, you can see for yourself, this isn't a traditional city builder. And it does have some survival mechanics where you have to keep people fed and, otherwise people die. And, this might be slightly more on the simpler side of building up a city, but there are more than 60 different building variations, 5 different wonders and counting, 3 different scenarios to start from, and a little bit of randomization, so not every run is gonna be the same. This game is still in development, but it entered early access in September 2022, so if you're not too sure about this game and you're waiting for more features, then you can see how it develops. But as of right now, it's got few reviews on Steam, but it is at 77%, so it's sort of a niche little success right now, which you might want to keep an eye on. Going a bit weirder, it's Kainga Seeds of Civilization, a roguelite village builder, which obviously takes some inspiration from Populous the Beginning, but it brings a lot of its own unique stuff to the table. Building up your village and surviving in these strange environments with strange creatures and competing with other tribes and just everything. This is definitely something different. There's nothing else quite like that out there right now, and people are generally liking this one, with 78% positive on Steam. This fully released in December 2022, but it's still getting updates and adding new content, so it's not quite finished yet. Or rather, it's expanding into more than what it was. And in this game, you'll be building, adapting, and surviving to some randomizations and just unexpected encounters. And the game does have sort of its own look to it, it's kind of magical, kind of mystical, I kind of like it. But it is a game that you are meant to die and lose and then restart and go again. So if you're not into the roguelite stuff, then maybe this might be a bit harsh, but if you're okay with dying and picking yourself up again, then Kainga Seeds of Civilization is a good choice. For something a bit more mobile, we've got Dream Engine's Nomad Cities, a survival city building game which has sort of a nightmare post-apocalyptic science fantasy style to it, which is pretty cool. And it's got, it's a sort of a typical city builder where you're building housing and setting up facilities and stuff like that. But then it's also got conveyor belts and resource management and all of that. And also, after every once in a while, when the nightmare-infested fantasy science realm starts to get a bit too much, your city lifts off and it takes what it can with it, and you fly to a whole other location. So mobile cities is definitely a thing that's become more of a trend in recent years, and this is one of them. It went into early access in the middle of 2021, so it's getting up there in terms of how long it's been in early access. But right now, it is just about squeaking by for this list at 75% positive on Steam ratings. So in this game, you will be building your industrious city and surviving right up until the last possible moment before you fly off to a new location. Sort of starting again, but not quite from scratch, because you'll be bringing stuff with you and you'll just continue growing with each new location. You know, researching, crafting, and upgrading your infrastructure. I generally like the look of this one. It's got a more unique setting and it's continuing to get updates, so that's nice to see. For a somewhat smaller one, there's Moons of Ardan. This is a city building game set in space which allows you to rebuild and expand civilization across moons in a living planetary system. Sci-fi city builders are less common these days, and this one is not a massive success, or it's definitely not a mainstream game, but you will be collecting materials, fulfilling people's needs, tuning production chains, exploring new planets, transporting resources across worlds, building a giant wonder, and overall it does look pretty nice as well. Simulation of your cities is also going to be pretty detailed, with energy management, sustainability choices, localized pollution, and more. So this game has very few reviews on Steam right now, but the few reviews are saying 95%, so the few who are jumping onto Moons of Ardan are really liking it. But will you like it? That's the main question here. You can check it out because there is a free demo. I love that. Free demos have become more of a thing recently, and that's nice to see. So you can go ahead and try the free demo and see if it's something you want to jump into right now or wait for full release. Now, for a moving city that has been quite successful, The Wandering Village. This is a city building game where you build on the back of a giant creature called an onbu. It is sort of a, I suppose, Pratchett-inspired thing with turtles, but the onbus don't go all the way down. It's got legs and it walks around. And in an upcoming update, I think it's supposed to be swimming through a new water biome. In this one, you build on the back of this onbu where you can be sort of symbiotic with the creature or parasitic. You can help feed the creature and encourage it and learn how to become friends with it. Or you can drill into its back and drink its blood. Either way, or maybe you do a mix of both. Maybe you do both and gaslight the creature or something. Anyway, this game has been getting 90% positive on Steam and people are really liking it, and it's going through early access since September 2022 with more updates on the way. As you build your city, the creature will walk through different biomes, and as the biomes change, you have to adapt to it. For example, in the desert biome, you won't be getting much water, but when you're going through the mountain biome, things will be colder. And of course, you have to worry about the killer spores that are coming to kill you and the onbu itself. Its survival is your survival is its survival. So, will you be able to survive? That's up to you, but you can check out the game. It's a pretty solid one to jump into right now. For one that has been very successful, Timberborn. This one went into early access in September 2021, so it's been a while, but it's got over 90%, 95% even, in terms of reviews on Steam. And this one is a beaver city builder. The big thing that sets this apart is that, you know, I mean, they sort of use the word lumberpunk, but generally you build a lot of stuff out of wood, and you can build vertically, so things can go up quite a bit onto layers and layers and layers. And there are water mechanics because you're beavers. Of course there are water mechanics. So you'll be controlling the rivers and damming up so you have reservoirs during the dry seasons and all of that. So it is a survival city builder, which of course any survival city builder is going to be banished inspired at this point. But with the vertical construction and water dynamics, it's pretty interesting. The last time I checked this game out, there was quite a bit in terms of actually manipulating your environment. And they have been adding in more types of beavers to play with, more buildings, more everything really. I mean, this game has over 16,000 reviews on Steam and it's rating like 95%. So people love this. If you like the look of it and you like the idea, then this one's definitely a safe bet to start playing right now. And next is Against the Storm. This one entered early access in November 2022 and already has almost 8,000 reviews at 95% positive on Steam. This is probably the most successful city builder in the last few months. It's a survival city builder with a dark fantasy setting, but you sort of explore little patches of openings in a mysterious foggy forest filled with dangers, and you go from location to location, sort of exploring a world map while you're fulfilling the requests and demands of a very strict monarch. So there's this whole balance of surviving against the environment, fulfilling your people's needs. It's a roguelite sort of thing where each run you unlock more stuff and discover new things, but also you have to keep the monarch happy by fulfilling their demands, otherwise you just lose that way. So there's a lot of stresses in this game that sort of keep pushing you forward and trying to get better. And there are easier difficulty modes, but this game can get very, very difficult. But it's definitely captivating, as people will tell you. Oh, also you are managing not just villagers, but 3 different types. There's 3 different species which live in your village. Humans, beavers, and lizards, all living together, each with their own preferences and things that will affect their happiness. So yeah, there's a lot to this game. It's been going very well through early access, and again, another one you can get into confidently, as this is most likely going to be a good experience for you. Alright, as of right now, those are the best new city building games that you can play in 2023 at this point. But of course, there are going to be more city building games releasing through 2023. And I can tell you, some of the most promising ones often fall flat, and many of the underdogs turn out to be surprising successes. So if you want to see all the upcoming city building games through 2023, check out the upcoming games list linked below. Along with all of these games, I've linked straight to their Steam page. If you'd like to support the channel, buy games on GOG using the GOG Referral Link below as well. Or just watch more videos. I've got a lot of videos on this channel. Just go check them out. Alright, that's going to be it for now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this interesting and or useful, and I will see you in the next video.